But I guess the other part that I want to kind of dive into then is, Elvis, coming back to you. So you do a bunch of Googling. You probably got targeted by like an ad or something because of your Google search history or something. But there's so many resources out there these days. Like that was not the case um even back in my days, and I graduated in 2008, so that was 15 years ago. Back then we didn't have all the resources that we had now, like definitely nothing like Wall Street Mastermind. Even like the most popular interview guys that everyone uses now were, I think, like, I don't think they were a thing yet back then, or maybe they had like just come out. But like fast forward to today, there's so many resources out there. Like you said, Wall Street Oasis, breaking into Wall Street, like Wall Street Prep, blah, 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 blah. Right. Like I'm sure you came across all the different options. So yeah, you hopped on a call with us. Yeah, you did your due diligence. Yeah, you were skeptical in the beginning, but like what made you say, like, okay, out of all the options that I could possibly choose to help Jacob, like this one is the one I want to go with. Like, because I feel like it's just almost like people have so many choices now. Sometimes they don't really know what to do, you know?
Well, I felt like your program was the most hands-on, where a lot of the other choices, other things out there, it was just like, here's the word, it's on you to do it. You
Mm,
know, there's no, there's nobody looking over you. There's nobody for you. You might be able to ask a question and might get an answer, maybe not. Who knows when? But with you, it's the fact that you also had like a community where it was not just you. There was also other students like him, and you guys would just help each other.
mm,
And there was a sense of like a group. It's like again, coming from a non-target school where he probably didn't have nobody to talk to about this, because not many people in school probably went through the process. I felt like Wall Street Mastermind provided like a way for him to besides me, because I was the only person he would speak to
mm.
about it. So it provided like a sense of like a community for him, for oh, I don't understand this, let me just throw it out there, put the question out there, within minutes you would get an answer either from you or even from other students chiming in, and I think that's invaluable. you know
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, that's a great point, which is I think when we started before we started Wall Street Mastermind, no one was actually doing what we're doing. It was just kind of surprising. But I think for the longest time, all the resources out there were kind of just, here's a PDF file with 400 questions and answers, and just go study this on your own, right? Or and what a lot of students usually end up doing is just they memorize the answers to those questions without really understanding what they're memorizing. And um, obviously, when go into the actual interviews, the interviewers are not going to just ask you the exact same questions that they know you've already memorized, because they've also read those same guides. Like everybody reads the same two or three guides. Um, and then so students get tripped up in the interviews when the interviewer switches just like a small part of the question, or uses a different number or different assumption, or maybe like dress it up differently. Right. And so a lot of people struggle with that. And then I think the other thing too is what we realize is like, okay, like everyone's so focused on like the technical interview aspect of things. But like there's so many other moving parts that go into what it takes to be successful in the recruiting process, which I'm sure like Jacob, you probably talk about, we could talk about that in a second here. But and no one was really helping with that, like how to build up your resume, how to get like relevant experience, how to network with bankers, all the things that come before the interview that determine whether you actually even get the interview or not. And so I feel like a lot of people spend all this time memorizing answers to a fixed set of questions, and one, they're not going to get to ask those questions if they get the interviews, but two, they don't even end up getting the interview anyway, and then so it just becomes like kind of a waste of time, like putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, right? So that's why we wanted to kind of have this more hands-on model, and not like hands-on like, hey, we'll work with you like on an hourly basis for an hour or for 2 hours or whatever. I mean, like I think you can, yes, get hourly tutors too, but the reality is like investment banking recruiting is such a long process that goes on for months, if not years. I mean, you recruited Jacob for, I mean, when did you get your offer? You got your offer probably saw
Within the
some
last,
yeah,
within
some point sophomore year, second semester, right?
yeah, actually it
I,
was the summer. Yeah,
a
within the summer.
summer, sophomore summer. So it was like So it's like a little over a year. Like we had to work with you for a little over a year, which is a very long process, right? And so we just want to take a different approach to it. Basically, it's like more of a long term mentorship approach where we're actually working with you as opposed to just saying, here's a list of questions and memorize it, because I think that's like overly simplifying, right?